Good morning, good evening, good whatever time it is you're watching this. I'm Dave with Cups and Handles, and in this quick market recap, we're going to break down today's SPY price action, identify the key technical levels that matter, and discuss what I'm anticipating for the next trading session. We only have a few minutes, so let's jump right into the charts. Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's video. I'm going to do a very quick market recap and next day analysis. Not feeling very well. I'm super tired. I had a very long day, so we're gonna make this very quick. I usually say that and the video is still like 17-20 minutes long. We're gonna try to make it like 5-10 minutes tops. Anyway, alright, let's get started. So, daily time frame. We had the 5 MA at the 762.88. It was actually at the 763.66 earlier in the session, before we had that pull down, which means that we're only about $5 away from retesting the 5 MA. And that's kind of what we've been talking about over this week, that once we had that upper Bollinger move, day one, secure the upper Bollinger, day two, see the higher high, and then from there we start seeing that downward consolidation. So far that's proving, to be very true. Again, this is a very, a back tested move that I've done many times before, and it's just like clockwork. So at this point, what we're kind of expecting, and let's just go to the daily time frame. And before we talk about expectations, let's just kind of talk about the day. So we did have the call wall and put wall fairly high today, but they were very close together. And if you watched the stream earlier today, you could tell that that was very concerning for me, because either we were going to push above the call wall, sell some high IV calls there and pull down, or we were going to pull below the put wall and very likely sell some high IV puts and pull up. Now, that didn't happen to be the case. We pulled up to that call wall and the buyers were just not there. So we ended up selling below the put wall, and from that point, we just could not maintain heading back up again. Now, I'm sure the put wall shifted ever since, I turned the stream off. I had to turn it off fairly early this morning. I think I only streamed for like maybe an hour tops because I had a meeting. So I'm sure that that put wall has shifted. Okay. But this is showing that buyers are starting to slow down a little bit. Okay. Obviously, they're going to. They've been buying the last few sessions very aggressively. And within our buying and selling channel, they rode straight up, hit the top of that channel, and then starting to pull back down. Okay. Trading is a skill that can last for a lifetime. Join my Patreon for live classes, my personal market analysis, premium Discord access, and direct communication with me. Invest in yourself, become a more consistent trader, and build a better future for yourself and your family. Visit patreon.com/wooksy to join today. Thank you so much, and let's return back to the video. Now, before we talk about the expectations for tomorrow, we do have some very important data sets in the morning. So we have the NFPs, which is the non-farm payrolls. We have the hourly earnings, the participation rate, and the unemployment rates that are all coming out at 8:30 a.m. Okay, so the market very likely is going to react pretty aggressively to that. If the data is very cool, this could cause a big push to the upside. And we're seeing this within the actual structure too, that potentially this could be forming this inverse head and shoulders. And the reason why we're saying that also is that, again, looking at our channel on the 1 hour time frame, we went from the top of the channel to the bottom. So what's the next expectation at this point? To start traveling back up. However, we have one thing working against us, okay, and that is that the 5 MA is still going to be underneath this channel as of tomorrow, okay. The 5 MA will be around, let's see, it's at that 762.88 currently. We closed at 768, or I mean 762.88, excuse me, and then we closed at 768.56. So it should be around the 764.50 to 765, give or take, on open, which means that we still very likely should be pulling down about $3 from where we're at currently. Well, that's going to break this current channel that we have. Now, that's not exactly a bad thing. That doesn't mean that this channel is going to be breaking full time. That could mean that the channel is expanding, and we've been talking about that over the week, that we absolutely can see channel expansion at this point. But if we're going to start really breaking down, we do have the structure to do so. Okay, we can start forming this very large inverse cup here. We have a lot of support underneath us to retest. So there is a lot of reasons to do that. Okay, but again, the only kind of concern at this point is that if the market does decide to bounce off the bottom of this channel, then tomorrow's data could definitely be the type of data to do that. Especially if we get cooler data, as I mentioned. Usually cooler data is going to lead to bullishness, and the reason why it leads to bullishness is because it pulls the treasury yields down, generally pulls the dollar down, the DXY, the dollar, and that causes there to be a lot more dollars to be pushed into equities, which generally causes equities to move up. That's not always the case, because again, if we do see bad labor market data, that could also cause the reaction of selling in the actual market. Okay, and we have seen that before, so I don't want to say it's a coin toss or a hit and miss. We just have to be really, observant of what's going on with the treasury yields, what's going on with the dollar, after those data sets are released. Now, we will check the gamma early in the morning. That'll tell us quite a lot of whether the buyers are wanting to push upward or, if there's a large amount of gamma to the downside. But again, we have a ton of support underneath us, and each of these support ranges means that, that's where buyers stepped up. Okay. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the expectation. I'm not overly bullish or bearish at this point. I do kind of expect that daily 5 month test to happen, but it still wouldn't surprise me if we did have this push upward. Okay. Um, we could have the channel expand. We could have it break and start forming a selling channel. There's room for both of those to occur right now. So we'll see what happens towards the open tomorrow. Again, that data is going to be super, super important. But based on the overnight, we're not really seeing any form of reaction, which I wouldn't be expecting any major reaction right now. Tomorrow's data is very, very crucial. And just to kind of close on this, the last employment print that we got with the unemployment rate, the participation rate, and everything, we saw a massive, massive pull down in how many people are in the workforce. And if we continue to see that, that's going to turn this dovish news into bearish news. Now, usually, again, I did explain with the treasury yields and the DXY, but cooler data sets usually lead to the Fed not hiking rates, which is also a bullish catalyst. If we get cooler data tomorrow, meaning we see the unemployment come down, we see the unemployment basically go up, we see the participation rate drop, then that could also cause that bullish reaction because it's kind of pricing out those rate hikes. I haven't really checked what's going on with the Iran situation right now. We do see oil a little elevated, but I haven't heard of any new hostilities or anything taking place over the last basically 24 hours. So, um, no new news on that front. But with that said, I hope everyone has a great day, great trading day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow or on Monday. So take care, everybody. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you can give me or give the video a like, if you like my content, consider subscribing. It all helps the algorithm, and that'd be, wonderful for me. So take care, everybody. That wraps up this market recap. If you found the analysis helpful, please take a moment to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who would benefit from these daily market breakdowns. It really does help support the channel and allows me to continue creating free educational content for everybody. As always, have a trading plan before you enter a position, manage your risk, and remember, we're not trying to predict the market, we're trying to prepare for it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.